What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a video discussing one tip for every flank champion that can actually help you, and you probably didn't even know it, or just something people kind of just overlook and completely forget about that can actually help you and give you a one-up and an advantage over a lot of other people that actually play the game right now. So, without further ado, let's get right into this. If you guys like these types of videos, I would be down to do it for all the other roles in the game as well, for supports, tanks, and even DPS. If this video does well, if you guys want more videos like this in the future, let me know. And if this video does well, I'll be sure to bring that to you guys. Without further ado, let's get right into this. Let's start it off. And keep in mind, this is only going to be up, depending on when you see this video, it's going to be all the way up until the newest flank champion, 7. There may be more flank champions in the future, depending when you're seeing this. So keep that in mind right now. Speaking of 7, let's start it off with 7. 7, for 7, you can actually play around Illuminate. And Illuminate actually only affects, I think it's up to, I think it's like around 200 units. You can actually, with your grapple, most of the maps in the game actually have really high skyboxes. You can actually latch onto a wall, and for the people that actually pick Illuminate into, you can actually play completely around them and actually pretty much escape Illuminate. So they pretty much pick an item into you to try to counter you, and it doesn't even work anyways, because you can kind of play around it. Now, whether you play Eevee a lot, or if you don't play Eevee that much at all, like me, you can actually use Eevee's ultimate actually in the air at like any height in the game, either off the ground, or like even on the ground. So if you're going against stuff like Andro, Drogos, stuff that actually likes to fly around in the air, you can actually teleport up to them or actually fly up to them, ult them, cripple them, and drop them down to the ground and secure a really easy kill. Just really cool and kind of a really cool thing not many people actually know how to do. It's actually a really cool check to a certain number of champions in the game, just being able to do that. As for Skye, you can actually throw her ult, Time Bomb, all the way into the air. It will actually hit the sky box. Your voice line will actually go out at the start of it, but there will be no sound effects on your ult until it actually hits the ground. So people will actually hear your voice line and actually hear you throw out your ult, but they will not know where it actually is until it actually hits the ground. And by that time it actually hits the ground, they have really little time to react before they end up getting killed. So it could be one of those things where you can actually throw it on certain maps all the way up, and it'll land behind somebody, they don't know where it goes, before they're able to react, and you can get some really clutch kills. It's happened plenty of times, I've seen it happen plenty of times, but kind of some really cool tech, and kind of a really cool way to catch your opponents off guard, and a really cool way to actually use Skye's ult to give it a lot more value, and a lot more kill potential. For Koga, you can actually use your ult mid-air, and actually your ult has a 1-second wind-up time before it actually starts doing damage. You can actually completely negate that ult and that 1-second damage wind-up time by either shadow stepping off a wall or shadow stepping off of a high ground, activating your ult mid-air and actually letting your ult just drop down by itself onto your opponents and just doing damage. It also catches people off guard because, like I said, there's no wind-up time, which is really cool. Kind of just one of those ways that, like, a lot of the higher tier Koga players actually take advantage of. It kind of separates a good Koga from a bad Koga, just using your ult and negating that 1-second wind-up time before you actually start doing damage. And then we got Vora. Vora's obliteration ability can actually, with a talent, it can also cripple for a certain duration and actually silence you. I think it's either cripple or silence. So, but with your obliteration ability, you can actually completely dodge certain abilities and huge amounts of damage depending on when you use it. As you guys can see here, like, I'm completely dodging damage. It's really good to kind of finish people off with, or like dodge ults. If you're really good at it as well, you can like completely dodge like Leon Enlightenment's, her ult, like certain ults in the game, even like barrages if you can time it like perfectly, and certain other ults in the game. It is only a 1-second damage immune. You have to use it 100% perfectly. If you're even off a little bit, it will not work and you'll still take damage. But if you know how to play Vora and you can actually get the timing down, it is one of the best abilities in the game. Just dodge a shit ton of damage or a bunch of crucial abilities when you're actually in a 1v1 and trying to duel somebody. And it's one of the things that makes Vora actually really good. Next we got Vaatu. Vaatu actually, this is kind of more of a simple type tech, but still people don't really know this. You can actually get a stun out of your ult still without having to let it charge fully. It has a slight charge time to actually get more distance, but you can actually cancel it early if you have somebody like that's right in front of you, and still stun them for the 1.5 seconds, but your ult will just not travel as far. So instead of traveling a lot farther with it fully charged, you can cancel it early, still get the stun, and actually just still use your ult that way, but it just won't go as far, which is kind of cool. Not many people actually know that you can actually cancel Vaatu's ults, apart from the ones that play him a lot. I see so many bad Vaatus in my games that just completely let his ult fully charge, and by the time that he's fully charging his ult, like in the 3 seconds it takes to charge, they're almost dead. So, just kind of a thing not many people really know, but if you did know that, then props to you. I don't really have much else for Vaatu. He's kind of one of those champions that either kind of know how to play him incredibly well, or you don't know what you're doing at all, and there's just not really much in between with him, unfortunately. As for Talis, Talis actually has a really cool ult that you actually don't even need to use every single time. If you actually use his ult quick enough, you can actually just use it mainly just to reveal the enemy team's opponents and where they are on the map. It can be used mainly for intel, and since his ult is kind of risky depending on when the enemy team actually plays around it. If you're going against a team that actually knows how to play, they're going to kind of counter your ult, wait for you to ult one person and just completely dive on you. You can kind of just negate that and just use it as like a more of like an intel type ult, just seeing where people are and kind of just playing based off of that. And you only go down to 70% ult charge, and with how fast Talis actually charges his ult and charges his ult up, it actually comes back really fast. So kind of just a cool thing to do, and I actually see myself doing that quite a while and quite a lot as well. You have to be kind of careful though, because if you do even like hook on anybody when you're trying to look at them during ult, you will teleport to them. You got to make sure you flick off. You quickly look and flick off fast enough to the people that you actually see through your rune of travel, or your ult. So, and be sure to throw down a teleporter. So if you accidentally do ult, you actually get brought back to your teleporter, and you can probably save yourself. So overall, that's just kind of the gist of what that is. For Lex actually has one of the ults in the game that has one of the biggest like hitboxes in the game for one of his ults. It is crazy how much like AoE his ult actually does have, especially when you line it up in like a certain angle. As you guys can see here, I was hitting like at least 3 or 4 people with just inside my ult range. It's actually, you can actually get a lot of value out of his ult depending on how you land it. You can also actually use his ult to actually destroy deployables. Stuff like barracks, dome, shield, Inara, walls. Like any deployable that can actually be destroyed by it, if it's an ult or if it's like an actual deployable, actually does get destroyed by his ult. Along with any type of shield, Fernando, Con shields, any shield in the game, apart from like Atlas shield and stuff. But just really kind of cool, and you can actually get a really lot of value out of his ult just with how much of an AoE it actually has. You can get executes, and you can also probably even catch like 1 or 2 other people that aren't really below the threshold to be executed, but get 600 damage and slow them, and maybe lead to a couple more free kills. Just really cool. For Buck, maybe not many people actually know this, and I don't know if this would actually be like a really useful tip, but with having a loadout card that actually gives you bonus reload speed, having that card at a 3 or a higher and then stacking Deft Hands into a 3, it does have diminishing returns, but it actually is faster to actually just shoot 1 shot out of your shotgun instead of actually shooting 2 shots in a row. And you just reloading after your first shot, as you guys can see in the footage. Now, you need to have at least the reload cards. I don't think you can actually do this with just Deft Hands, which the reload cards really aren't the greatest, and it's kind of not really the greatest thing, but if you do want to run that type of playstyle, you can maybe catch some people off guard, because your first shot and just automatically reloading your 5th bullet every single time over and over is actually faster than shooting 2 times in a row. With Deft Hands 3 and the reload card at a 3 or higher, so just really cool tech. For Androxus, not many people actually know this, but Androxus' ult is actually CC immune. Meaning you can get out of cripples, you can dodge other ults that are actually CC type ults. Dread Serpent, you can dodge Grumpy Bombs with your ult. And also another, like a bonus tip for Andro is it's always better ulting from in the air. You're guaranteed to at least land one or 2 shots from your ult, because people just don't know where to look, and they expect you to be on the ground, not in the air, and you can take different angles that way. Just a really cool tip, and it allows you to actually use his ult in a lot more specific situations and dodge a lot of other abilities or ultimates in the game. As for Maeve, not many people actually know this, but as for the enemy team, when they are affected by Midnight, they cannot actually hear you when you're using your ability Prowl. Normally, your ability Prowl actually has a sound effect, and you can actually hear you running around during your Prowl and stuff. But when you have Midnight on the enemy opponent, and as long as they're in Midnight, they cannot hear you at all when you're using Prowl. This is why Maeve is actually really good, especially during her ult, just for chasing people down and picking up kills during her ult, just because people don't know where she is. And pretty much one of the biggest sound effects from her is actually completely gone during her ult, which is really cool. Like I said, it's only for the enemy team. It is not for your team. Your team can still hear you, which is a good thing, but it's just for the enemy team during their ult. Keep in mind, it's also affected by resilience. So if they have resilience, your ult's going to last a lot less, and some people will actually be able to see you before others, depending on how much resilience they have. So, but just a really kind of cool thing for Maeve's ult that not many people actually know of. Then last but not least, we got Xin. This is kind of a no-brainer, but still, people do not even know this. If you're during your billow, you actually have 100% immunity to being cauterized. So the duration during your billow, which I think can actually be influenced with loadout cards as well. When you're in your billow, you can actually negate all cauterized. So that's why Xin is really good as well. You can dive a backline as long as you have a support looking at you, and they can actually heal you from range like a Furia, a Corvus, even like a Ceres, something like that. That can heal you every time you go into a billow. It allows you to have pretty much 2 lives, really, pretty much. You go in, you fight, and then you get really low, go back, hopefully your support gives you a heal. You can hop right back in and finish the opponent you were going against, or like pick something off, or get out of dodge. It's just really good, and it's one of the things that makes Sin so difficult to kill, especially if you play around it and use it really well. There you have it, guys. That is the entire roster of flanks. I know some. I can't do this. I know some of you guys are saying to yourselves and saying like right now, but you forgot Moji. But bro, you forgot Moji. My tip for Moji is to not play Moji. Just don't play Moji, guys. She's fucking garbage. She's the worst champion in the game, and she probably always will be, unless she gets an entire rework, which they'll never do. So. If you guys have any tips for Moji that I do not know, because I don't play Moji at all, and I stay as far away from Moji as possible. If you guys have any tips, and you happen to do play Moji a lot, or even know somebody that plays Moji a shit ton, and plays the shit out of her for whatever reason, if you guys have some tips, let us all know in the comments down below. I'll leave that one to you guys, because I just don't have any tips for her. My tip is not to play her, because she's dog shit awful, and you're just throwing your games playing her, so. But apart from that, that's every flank right now, at least up to this point. Like I said, it might change in the future. If you guys like these types of videos, hopefully there was something in here that you could learn, or even like a small thing for like 1 or 2 champions that maybe you did not know. At least me going into this, there was a lot of stuff I actually didn't even know as well. A few of these I didn't even know of. I spent a bunch of time actually either in like bot games or even in actually like just in the training ranges, messing around with a lot of these champions. And kind of just think of what I've learned over like the almost 6,000 hours I have into the game right now. So, alright, it took a while to put this video together. So if you guys like these types of videos, like I said, I will do more of these type of videos for like the DPS, the tanks, and the supports. Got Lilith going into the game soon. So if you guys like want me to do supports next or any type of other role, if this video does well, I'll be sure to do it. So if you guys like that, leave a like, subscribe, share the video. That being said, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully I did help. I'll throw some videos on screen right now in case you missed them. Some that can also help you either with ranked or some other stuff. Peace out, guys, and have a good one.